There she is. You'd think I'd have sorted out pole position by now. Right. Promise that's it. How are you? Oh, Rosie, I think you're on mute. You're on mute. Still nothing. Rosie? Rosie, I still can't hear you. That's weird. It's not saying she's muted.
I think it's because I'm not.
What?
I'm shitting you.
No.
Yeah, no, it was fine from the start.
You absolute bitch.
I know.
Gotta say, in my many months of Zooming, that's gotta be the best one yet.
Oh, well, I try.
And you succeed.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just judging your background.
Oh, is that right?
That is right.
Okay, what have you deduced?
Nothing.
Good.
Literally nothing.
Oh, now who's being a cheeky bitch?
So,
So,
nice to see you again.
you too.
Bit different to last time.
Well, you called it.
Called what?
What, another lockdown?
Hardly Nostradamus. I could see that coming as soon as he cancelled Christmas.
Cancel Christmas is a bit dramatic.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I regret not kissing you now.
Stop it.
Back to Zoom then. Could be worse, I suppose. What do you reckon they did during the Spanish flu?
I don't know. Died?
There is that. So, how many Hinge dates have you Zoomed?
You would be the first.
Oh, I'm honoured.
Well, you should be.
There's a name for that, isn't there?
Is there?
Zoom dating. Zating.
Oh, nice.
There's more. Zerting. That's flirting.
Of course.
Zexting.
Cheeky.
Yeah. And then if things don't work out,
Zumping.
well done you. I was reading it on one of those rabbit holes I got lost in.
Oh god, those endless rabbit holes.
Yeah. You gonna be working from home then?
Yeah, looks like it. What about you?
Waiting on the self-employed grant.
Shit.
Yeah. And I've got a call from the Universal Credit people next week, which should be fun.
They ring you?
Yeah, check up on you. Make sure you're spending 50 hours a week looking for work.
50.
Well, that's an exaggeration.
Is that money you have to pay back?
Fucking hope not.
Sorry. I don't know how it works.
That's cool. No, you don't have to pay it back. But with this government, who knows, right?
Right.
Crazy week, eh?
How do you mean?
Just all this shit that's going on. The world burning, etc., etc.
The lockdown.
Well, that, yeah. You've seen the protests, right?
I haven't been following it, to be honest.
But you saw what kicked it all off.
What?
Black guy killed in police custody, shocker.
Yeah, no, I did. It's awful.
Fucking awful. I had to laugh at all those Twitter gammons giving it the, but that's America, it wouldn't happen here, bollocks last year. They've gone a hell of a lot quieter when it does happen. The only difference is, we don't have guns.
Right.
I've just got back from town now. Mum was giving me earache about going protesting in the middle of a lockdown. She's a bit wet like that. You're going to give me earache now, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
But you're thinking it.
No. I guess I just come at it from a slightly different place.
Yeah?
Yeah, I told you, my mum and dad are NHS workers.
Oh,
I did.
sorry. My memory's shit.
I see it through their eyes, you know? We think it can't touch us, but it can. I bet a lot of the people who were stood on their doorstep, clapping, banging pans, I bet a lot of them were stood with you today on that protest.
I stood at the back. Kept my distance.
Sorry. Bet I sound like a bit of a dick.
No, it's cool. I get it. I never thought myself to be like militant, in your face, we demand our rights, but this shit has been building for a long time. I wanted to be heard.
Oh,
What?
your t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how it is.
Sure. Look, I know we haven't kissed yet, but do you have a t-shirt that says, I've never Zoomed a Tory?
Oh,
That would be a lie.
ah.
Expelliarmus. And with that, you're fucked. Disarmed, at my mercy. Wizardry 101, really. Except usually you'd use a wand. And this is a pencil. Not even a sharp one. Harry Potter in it. Don't tell me that you haven't read them. Well, if you do me a favour and read them before you watch them. I was 8 when I first read The Philosopher's Stone. I was on holiday. Spain it was. Of course, we're Brits. I couldn't put it down. I must have gone through that book in 2 days. And then it was on to the second, and then the third. I read them everywhere. By the pool, on the beach. Last night of the holiday, my mum and that dad had dragged us to meet their very boring friends for a meal. I just sat and read while they got sloshed. Honestly, Kate, does he ever talk? My mum's friend Karen was an absolute twat. In that moment, I wanted to turn into a boggart. That's the thing that scares you more than anything in the world. And for Karen, that would have been a non-alcoholic beer. That was the start of the obsession. Always saw myself as Harry, the badass geek. I wanted a scar like him. Tried to give myself one using the pointy end of a compass. Never got as far as a full lightning bolt though. Mrs. Ross caught me and I got bollocking. And I saw that there was a Quidditch team at the uni for Leicester Festrals. Swear down. They're not on brooms, obviously, but they've got a golden snitch and everything. It's basically a ball in a gold sock hanging out the back of someone else's arsehole. They wouldn't let me play though because I wasn't at the uni. I was at DMU. Fascists. I even learned parcel tongue, but there wasn't any snakes to talk to. Ended up having a chat with the worms in the backyard. Wasn't the same. Worms are shit. Pretty soon, I saw Harry Potter characters everywhere. My mum was definitely Dolores Umbridge. Bossy little cow in pink. Unhealthy obsession with cats. All teachers were Dementors. Sucked the life out of you. Aunt Gina, she was Professor Trelawney, the professor of divination. Proper hipster, always doing acid. And my mum, she had this friend who would always come for dinner. Never saw her anywhere else, just always at dinner. Pam? Jam. Something like that. Proper mum's name. She was Large Marge, Uncle Vernon's sister. Blows up like a big balloon and floats off into the night sky. Dumbledore, right? Remember in the first film when he was dead, old and withered and then the actor popped his clocks and he was full of beans from then on? That was my granddad after my nan died. I have been through dads like Defense Against the Dark Arts tutors. There was Phil. He was Professor Lupin, the werewolf, hairy bastard. Steve was mad-eyed moody, angry Irish bloke, loved a drink. Horace Slughorn, Roger, old school geezer, always wore a waistcoat. Tried to teach me about stamps, proper wet wipe. There was my dad, but I don't really remember him. Apparently he was Peter Pettigrew, shitty little rat man. And when I was 14, my mum met this new dad, George. He was different. Nice. Kind. Warm smile. Hagrid smile. He was a dentist. How mad's that? Like proper normal. He was good to her. To us. We moved in with him into this big house. Our own Hogwarts. Had its own library and everything. Well, it was more like a room with a desk and a few books, but I read all of them. And around this time, I stopped seeing myself as Harry. Didn't feel right anymore. I was into Hermione. See, Hermione is what they call a half-blood. She was born a muggle, but she's actually a witch, and a good one. Sirius Black calls her the brightest witch of her age. It all made sense to me. I was Hermione. It all fit. But then last year, I was told that I didn't belong in this world by the person who created it. We're mudbloods. We shouldn't exist. We don't exist. Do you know how that feels? To be told that you're not welcome in the world that you've always lived. It's like this little piece of you is dead. And I didn't get it. Because of Hermione. She might have been born a muggle, but she's really a witch. And apparently she's the best of the lot. So she's allowed, but I'm not. I've stopped seeing characters now. Stopped speaking to the worms. I don't live in that world anymore.
Darkness. Darkness everywhere. Darkness all over London. I am one with darkness. London, where gay men dream to come, where gay men come to dream. I walk in shadows, I see it all, from Soho to Vauxhall, from Clapham to Shoreditch. I know every blade of grass and every pavement crack. I walk it. I am it. Leaving the party, the night becomes morning, becomes day. The drugs fill my veins. They become me, and I them. It's noon in summertime, and though the sun bathes the gaze in rays, I am in darkness. No light can touch me. No one can see me. The invisible gay. Alone at last. Alone again. This world is not for me. The lonely gay.
Oh, well done, Danny. That was lovely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It was bold, it was daring, it was lovely.
Did I hit the objectives?
You hit them and some.
Yes, and it wasn't
No,
too...
no, not at all.
And
Yes,
it
yes, you really did.
Great.
So, look, I'm going to ask that we switch it back to gallery view, if that's okay. I'm a big believer when directing that you can see the actor's face and that they can see yours. It's all about collaboration. There we go. So, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was fine. I feel like I was playing with it a bit more.
That's what we do, isn't it? That's why it's called a play.
But also I feel like I was able to find the darkness and that sense of, the peril.
It was dark. It was peril. It was lovely. Really well done.
Oh, thanks, Linda.
So, we'll do notes, because that's what we do, isn't it? Now, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I'd like to ask you to use a pen and paper, a pencil, if you're working on the script. I don't really like actors using their phones for notes. You never know, they might be on TikTok.
Well, I wouldn't be on TikTok.
Okay, so first of all, where are we? It says we're in darkness, but where actually are we?
London.
Yes. So let's see that, if we can. Now, there's a reference to walking on the streets with drugs filling his veins, isn't there? Now, what do we think that's all about?
Well, it's chemsex, isn't it? He's on something. He's probably just come from a chill.
No. No, I don't think so. He says the sun bathes the gaze in rays.
No, I don't mean that sort of chill. It doesn't matter.
Do you do drugs, Danny?
No, I don't.
Just something to consider, maybe.
Excuse
So,
me.
here are my two main notes. Firstly, I think we need more camp.
Camp?
Yes, camp.
I'm sorry, I don't like the expression camp. I find it quite reductive.
Oh.
I prefer the term exacerbated flamboyance.
Well, whatever works for you, just more of that. And secondly, now, stew this one over, but I'm thinking more northern.
Northern?
Yes, you know, northern.
Yes, I know what northern is. I'm just...
Combination of those two things will make this character appeal much more to our audience.
When you say northern, what do you mean? Like Newcastle, Manchester, Liverpool?
Didn't they teach you Northern at drama school?
What, generic Northern?
Yes. You see, Danny, we're getting into the specifics of the character now. So generic Northern will do quite nicely. Look, I'll demonstrate for you and you can follow.
Oh, no, I'd much rather it if...
Darkness. Darkness everywhere. Darkness all over that London.
Stop! Linda, I'd much rather it if I could find that for myself.
But the reason I say this is because I have some concerns over clarity, Danny. Now, whereas your current timbre is perfectly adequate for theatre, the acoustics in some of the church halls will require a little more exacerbated flamboyance.
Church halls?
Yes.
What church halls?
Lovely church halls, lots of them on the tour.
Tour?
Barnstable, Burscough, Boscobel, other places beginning with B.
My agent told me we were at the National.
No, we're going national. Up and down the country in a big van. Oh, it's going to be a real adventure.
I'm sorry, Linda, you cannot do this. Edgar F. Colson's The Lonely Gay is the seminal work of queer theatre for our generation, and you want to premiere it outside London.
To start with, yes.
Have you taken leave of your senses?
Danny, relax. I'm told there are gays outside of London and they're all very lonely.
No, you know what, Linda? I'm sorry to do this, but I'm not very comfortable with where this is heading right now. We're only one rehearsal in, and I already have huge concerns about the future of this production.
Okay, Danny. Well, if that's how you feel, thank you and good luck.
Well, what do you mean?
You're clearly not happy, and unhappy actors make unhappy plays.
Linda, it's called The Lonely Gay. There isn't a joke in 3 acts. It's miserable as fuck.
It's not the play, Danny. It's the company. My concerns are for the company. I hate to say it, but I think you're a bit of a square peg in a round hole. I'm going to have to stand you down.
Stand me down.
Dismiss you.
What?
I'm sure that a talented actor such as yourself is in constant demand. I bet you can't move for job offers right now. I mean, you don't need Barnstable or Burscough. You're such a talented boy. I mean, it's not like there's a crisis ravaging the industry or anything, is there? Plenty of work for a good actor.
No, please.
I'm sorry?
Please.
Please who?
Please, Linda.
And you're sorry, are you?
Very.
Say it.
I'm very sorry, Linda.
That's more like it. Doesn't it feel better when we're all on board?
It does.
Good, really good. So when you're ready, let's take it from the top.
You're late.
I'm so sorry.
3 minutes.
I know.
I sacrificed my Joe Wicks class for this.
Oh, really?
No, can't stand the man. I'm joking.
Yeah, he's a bit annoying, isn't he?
Yeah, my wife seems to fancy him. I can't say I see the appeal myself.
I'm really sorry, Professor. I was having problems logging in.
Richard, please. Professor makes me sound old.
Richard.
Well, problems with Zoom, is it?
Yeah, bit of a nightmare.
Didn't think I'd live to see the day when a 50-something Luddite like myself found online access less taxing than a millennial. I imagine all of your classes are online these days,
Yeah?
with plenty of breaks. Else doubtless you complain of a stiff back or crick neck staring at the screen all day.
To be honest, I watch most of my lectures in bed.
Oh, quite. As if students need any more excuses to skip classes.
We're not all bad.
I know what you're thinking. Cantankerous old git. Gonna start whinging on about how it was tougher in my day.
No, not at all.
Well, you should be. It bloody well was.
Oh?
I'm joking. Again. So what halls are you in?
I'm at Grosvenor House. Do you know it?
Yeah, I can't say I do. I was in Marshall Lodge out in Ayleston.
Not sure, sorry.
Probably flats now. I mean, there used to be 3 pubs within pissing distance of the grounds. Salad days, huh? I imagine they've gone too. I mean, no one drinks in pubs anymore. Another of our great institutions that we've lost. I mean, which is your local?
You're gonna hate this. I'm teetotal.
I'm teasing, of course.
Surely not.
Oh, yeah, that's the spirit. Come on, give me some back. Engage me in verbal jousting. Now, tell me about this magazine.
So, we release it monthly. Been going for about half a year now. So free copies available at the Student Union, and we also circulate it around all the halls. And every month, I run an interview with a famous ex-student.
And how wise of you to choose the most famous?
God, are you always this bad?
Always. Right, enough of this tomfoolery. Your first question, I'll try not to disappoint.
So, Professor.
Richard!
So, Richard, what was the inspiration behind your new book, The Art of Debate?
Well, at its core, it tells the story of the breakdown of our society's ability to engage in a healthy debate, an exchange of opposing views that has for centuries and through many civilizations proven to be a fundamental quality of any healthy democracy, as you'll see when you read it.
I have.
I'm sorry?
Read it.
Oh. Well, jolly good. And did you like it?
It was alright.
Yes! Very good!
A lot of the problems, in your view, come down to whataboutery and ad hominems.
Quite.
Could you explain them further?
Well, let me demonstrate with 2 examples. I challenge you, a dripping wet lefty, that your hero, Jeremy Corbyn, was responsible for overseeing an alarming spike in anti-Semitism during his time as Labour leader.
I wouldn't call him my hero, but go on.
But you turn around to me and say, but Professor, what about those nasty Tories and their Islamophobia?
Which is a massive problem, no?
Well, whether it is or it isn't is irrelevant. You're shifting the original topic of debate so that topic can never be debated.
And that's whataboutery.
Indeed. Now, imagine you come to me and say, well, Professor, you're hardly in a place to criticise anti-Semitism because you tweeted a video of a woman throwing a cat in a wheelie bin with a laughing face emoji. So you must be a monster.
What?
But there's your ad hominem. discrediting the debater from the off, deeming them unworthy of putting forward a side on a debate because there's an element to their character that you find to be distasteful.
And you claim both of these tools are being used to dismantle not only healthy discussion, but also common decency.
Absolutely.
And you cite Brexit as the main factor in exposing all of this.
Brexit is, in many ways, the straw that broke the camel's back. And when I say broke the camel's back, I mean took an enormous sledgehammer and crippled the poor bastard. I mean, the final divide in a toxic culture that has been building up for many decades. To the Remain side, Brexiteers are foul, loathsome creatures with four fingers a hand who reject any form of cultural integration. But to the Leave side, Remainers are haughty, avocado-on-toast chomping wankers who wouldn't know the real world if it slapped them across their heavily moisturised faces. I mean, the final refusal of a society to engage in civilised discourse.
But not all discourse is civilised, is it?
Oh, for sure. Some drunken louts in football shirts bellowing at each other like cavemen squabbling over land.
Not just that. I want to come now to some of your recent comments about the trans community.
I don't believe this is in the book.
No, we're moving on from the book now.
I'm fairly sure this was an interview about the book.
No, Professor, this is an interview about you.
Go on. I've nothing to hide.
A lot of people are calling for your removal from Twitter.
People are calling for my silencing on Twitter. A lot is an exaggeration.
Perhaps you could talk us through your position.
Look, I've been through this.
I think our readers will be interested.
My position is one that is not unusual or alien or abhorrent to our society, despite what your student friends may tell you. I have no issue with trans women, but they cannot call themselves women.
Because, according to you, this is, how did you put it? Internalised misogyny.
Well, it is. At my heart, I'm a feminist.
Just not for all women.
You may see it that way, but I've made my point many times.
You've made other points too. You said that doctors treating trans children are indulging in eugenics.
That was a misquote.
But that was the gist of it.
No, that was a misquote. Look, I'm happy to have this debate, but I'd rather deal in facts, not fabrications.
Why does it bother you so much, Professor?
What do you mean?
What about the trans community makes you feel so threatened?
I don't feel threatened in the slightest. I'm merely advocating the views of many women.
Women advocate those views themselves?
Well, of course they can. But I believe I'm being what is known in the gay world as an ally.
And that's how you presented yourself to Mumsnet, isn't it?
Well, how do you know that?
I did some research. One of those many excuses to skip classes you were referring to. But they didn't particularly thank you for speaking on behalf of women. One of their responses was, "This is a female space, and I don't think an entitled male should be using us as a platform."
One user.
And several others. Do you know anyone trans, Professor?
No, I don't. I don't know any of the Rohingya either, but I can still say that what happened to them is shit. Now, the last I checked, this was a free society, and I am within my rights to contribute to the conversations of the day.
But you don't tweet about the Rohingya. You tweet about the trans community. And with respect, Richard, you still haven't answered my original question. Why does it bother you so much?
I see what you're doing. This is simply an extension of the cancel culture that has infiltrated our society. I talk about this in the book. That you've come here today with your Marxist lefty agenda, determined to have a pop at me just to get a cheap belly rub for your mates in the students' union.
I'm a bit confused. Is that whataboutery or an ad hominem? Thanks, Professor. That's been really useful.
Well, this isn't awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't say that on my Hinge profile, does it?
I should have guessed when you said your views were moderate.
They are.
Classic shy Tory.
Fuck off.
I'm teasing.
Are you?
Maybe.
I'm not a real Tory. I just vote with my parents.
Oh God, that's even worse.
You're judging me
What makes you think I'm judging you?
because you're a smug liberal.
I thought you weren't a proper Tory.
Is it true?
What?
Your t-shirt?
To my knowledge. There was a girl at school whose dad was a golf pro, but I've pretty much blanked her out.
So it's not a deal breaker then?
Sort of explains it though.
Explains what?
Before, when I said to you, crazy week, you didn't have a clue what I was talking about.
Not at first, no, but should I say sorry for that?
Everyone knows what's been happening this week.
I don't use social media. I don't read the news. I don't do politics.
I hear you.
Look, this is really difficult for me because
Because what? Oh, because I'm black. It's been a pretty difficult week for me too, you know.
well, I guess
You can say it.
well, yeah. Yeah, I guess there's no way of me saying that I don't agree with protests during a pandemic that isn't gonna come across as like, well,
As like, what?
racist.
That is some serious white guilt right there.
You think I'm insensitive? I'm really not.
I believe you. But the fact is, you brought that up completely out of nowhere. And it's not the issue here.
No, the issue here is your t-shirt.
What? It's just a t-shirt.
You know what I mean? You instantly hate me because I'm a Tory.
I'm still talking to you. The issue isn't me thinking you're racist.
Which I'm not.
What bothers me is that you, as a gay woman, don't feel any sense of solidarity with the oppressed.
What does that mean?
You're gay. How can you not feel for this shit?
I'm gay. So what? It doesn't dictate my identity.
Sometimes maybe it should.
Why?
What if it wasn't a black guy? What if it was a woman? Maybe a woman you knew or maybe not. But a woman who loved other women. That was her crime. And the police stood by and let her die.
Beth.
And then you went to protest because how can this be happening in the UK in 2021? And the police lock you up for protesting during lockdown.
That wouldn't happen.
Oh, it's happening. Right now, it's happening. It's the same police who pulled this woman over when she'd done nothing wrong. The same police who weren't pulling anyone else over who weren't like her. And she's sick of it. Tries to tell them that she's done nothing wrong. And they're targeting her because she's different. She's had enough. Maybe she's had a bad day or whatever, but she tells them to fuck off. She's sick of being subjected to different rules to the people who aren't different. And they throw her to the ground, and her head smacks against the pavement hard. She's dazed, not responding, and they don't think anything of it. They just throw her in a cell to cool down. She'll be fine. But she's not fine. She dies. Right there. She dies.
I told you I'm not political.
But you've got a fucking heart, haven't you?
Well, obviously, I'd be horrified.
And you'd want to take to the streets. Except you couldn't, because the police would come and lock you up.
They haven't locked you up.
I told you I stayed at the back.
Look, I'd be really sorry for this woman. I am really sorry, but I wouldn't be there. And I am sorry that you find that uncomfortable, but I really wouldn't. Because I see my mum and dad come home every night. I look in their eyes, and I can see they're not there. This thing is taking over them, overwhelming them, it's destroying them. There was one night, my mum stayed late to comfort this man, because his wife had died, and his son was on a ventilator. You know, his son was 29.
Rosie, we've been struggling to breathe for a lot longer than this pandemic.
So, where do we go from here?
I don't know. But I don't think it's going to work.
Alright, so now we're zumping.
What?
Zumping. Remember, you brought it up.
I'm pretty sure you've got to be with someone to dump them.
And we weren't.
What?
Together.
It's like the third date.
I like you. I don't care if I'm not supposed to say that on the third date.
I don't not like you.
We proper clicked, didn't we? When we met up before Christmas. I can't believe you're letting politics get in the way of it.
It's more than that.
I don't think it is, though. I think if it weren't for that, I'd be making lame jokes about being on mute and you'd be laughing.
Rosie,
Come on, you said you weren't militant in your face.
that's the thing. I'm not. But the fact you think that this is says it all.
Oh, how many times? I'm not political. I don't really care.
And that's even worse.
How?
Because you stand for nothing.
That's so harsh.
But you don't. You coast along in life and put a cross in a box because mummy said so, and you don't realise the damage it's doing.
No, I've crossed a box that you don't like and now you're calling this off. Grow up.
Says the girl who's scrounging off mum and dad. I don't know what's worse. The apathy or the ignorance.
Right, so two people who are different, we can never be together.